on? This is Yuri with the GT Coalition. So today we're going to be checking out another cool bike in my collection. This is my my 2019 GT LTS Sensor Elite carbon bike. It's a size medium. I'm 5'6", and yeah, this bike actually fits me really well. Like I think a small would have been kind of a little too small, to be honest, because I demoed a few bikes at Fanatic at the time, and I was like, oh, okay, like I think a medium is the right fit for me, and you know, it's a really good bike. So let's go over it. This kind of with the seat post before I even forget. So the stock, it comes with an X-Fusion Manic dropper post. I actually like this dropper post because you can, number one, you can internally route it. Two, I like this is my favorite dropper of all time, just because it's so like you can adjust it here, you know, in several different positions, so you can get the ergonomics that you want out of that. You know, some are just fixed in one spot, and you know, it's just like kind of sucks. But this one, I like how you can adjust it for ergonomics like really well. And as you guys know, I'm a big fan of a couple things. One is custom caps. I love them. I accidentally ordered the road bike bar end plugs for these, but you know, a group of friends and I, we call ourselves the Old Man Jump Club because we like hitting jumps, and well, a lot of us are above the age of like 35, and I'm the youngest. I'm 36, and I think our oldest guy in the group is like maybe 60 or something. No, 52. I don't know. Just well, you know, in their 50s, 60s. So. And because I'm gonna get airborne on this bike, I call it Air Force One, because it is my this is such an awesome bike. It's really cool. I love it. And I had I had Chris Gardner over at Velo Inc. make me these custom name decals, so you know, and they match the color of the like letters, so it's kind of cool. I like that. That's awesome. And of course, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of a few things. One is also the race face grips, like the half Nelsons. I just like them in all weather, just because I like my compared to other people, I notice, like I like my I think maybe it's a trials thing, but I like my grips thin, and I like them really tacky. So even if I go like without gloves, like they still feel good, but they still are gonna have excellent grip. So sometimes I wear gloves, sometimes I don't, but I always want an all-around comfortable sticky grip, and these race face half Nelsons are awesome for that. Here, one of the recent upgrades that you can't even see, but I have done finally, is with these Schwabe knobby nicks. For some reason, I don't know why. I like the tire. They have decent grip, like they grip really well actually, compared to other tires I've used. I always get flats on these because I was running inner tubes, and at one point, well, the final breaking point is after my 8th patch job, I got another flat, and I was kind of like 2-3 miles out from the parking lot, which on a flat tire that you can't ride the trail on because you'll just ding the hell and rip your tire up. You know, it's I just caved in. I was like, fine, I will go tubeless on this. Hence you can see kind of the sealant and stuff. Eesh. Yeah, don't mind that. It's okay. It's it'll buff out. No, anyway, up front it runs the so this is like a 148 110 setup, or space, like hub spacing setup, just to let you know. And here it runs the RockShox sector fork. This is the 51mm offset, 130mm travel fork on a 29er wheel. Rebound adjustments like here, and it's not gimmicky. It actually does a pretty good job. I like this fork. It's not remote like my Zascar Elite alloy, you know, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that because everything's so easy to reach. And of course, you guys know I am a big fan of the Magura 4-piston brakes. I love them. They're really dependable, great brakes. And here, if you can tell, like rotor size, like yeah, I'm running SRAM rotors, but they're still like, the brakes are still exceptionally quiet. It's 180 180, so with the Maguras and these 180 rotors, the SRAM rotors, which I'll upgrade to the Magura Storm stuff. It stops stupid well, and that's probably just more of the brake caliper and having a nice clean rotor. So excuse me, I'm just under the weather. And it stops stupidly well on a dime, so I love it. Here, for those of you that may not know, it's not a pure carbon bike. It's an aluminum rear end with a carbon front triangle, and you know, they give you a little bit of frame protection here, this rubber piece. You know, if you're like me and you're gonna trial something like a rock and you don't want to like chip into this frame, because that will be probably the end of it. Here's the flip chip setting. So there's one on each side. I think you take a 4mm, I want to say it's a 4mm Allen, and then a 5 on the opposite side, so you don't use both. But anyway, a lot of people say they can feel the difference. I can't, and I don't know if it's because I ride so many different bikes that, you know, I just noticed that difference. But people are like, oh, you know, I'm not striking rocks. Like, you're barely dropping it by like a half a degree on your head tube. So it's like 60, if you have it in the high setting, it's 60, your head angle 66 degrees. You go in a low setting, it's 65.5. I don't really notice the difference. If there is, it's so subtle that it doesn't bother me. Like, or you just adapt to it. So it's just weird. You know, I know a lot of people are like, no, I can feel the difference, but you can guarantee you, if you blindfolded a bunch of people, they wouldn't know the difference. Like, I guarantee you, like, you could put some Gorilla like tape and cover it and be like, what setting are you in? They'd be like, oh, it's got to be the low. Like, nope, you're wrong, it's high. Like, I don't know, people, it's so weird. Like, I don't know, it's just my thing. I think as a, when you ride multiple bikes, or you're you have that skill to adapt to other bikes, you don't really notice those kinds of like subtleties, because you as a rider can kind of adapt to it. So I don't know, I just always laugh over the flip chip stuff. People are like, oh no, like you're still gonna go down the same mountain and you're gonna climb the same trail. I don't, you know, and that rock is still gonna be this big ass, like, you know, rock, and that drop's gonna be this big ass drop. Like, I don't know, I just have these, I had it. If this didn't have flip chip, it wouldn't have been a deal breaker. I'm just saying that much right now. I don't think it's that noticeable. Like, to be honest, like, has anybody ridden a bike from the 90s? I'm telling you, like, some stuff is just cherry on the top, like, or, you know, it's just gravy. I don't know. I'm gonna talk more about that than anything else. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, here it runs a Schwalbe knobby neck tires. These are the 2.35. I think you could probably run a little more if you wanted. Like, let's see, I'm putting my finger here just so I can give you guys like kind of that perspective. But you know, there's not much wiggle room in that if you wanted to run a fatter tire. Maybe there is, but like, I have very small hands, so like, I wear a size small glove, so my finger right now is like barely touching either side. Like, I can, there's some wiggle room, right? Like, I can do that. You know, if you wanted to run, I think, an extra inch, you could probably do it. But you know, I think you're pushing your luck if you're going to go more than an inch wider on this tire setup. But then again, you have to keep in mind, every tire manufacturer runs, like, they measure their width so different. Like, I know it's WTB, like, or Continental, like, their stuff could be the same, like 2.35, but it's narrower than like Schwalbe, for example. Like, I don't know, kind of interesting. Anyway, the rear shock here is a RockShox Deluxe. It doesn't have lockout, but this bike is like, has a very firm feel to it, and I think the reviewers are right in the sense, and when they are talking about how firm the bike feels, because it does feel very firm. Like, oh yeah, and it's 130 millimeters to travel in the back too. Like, it, like, compared to the AOS or even the old gen, the iDrive before that, this bike feels a lot more firmer, but it feels a lot rowdier too. So it's something to keep in mind. Like, you're not gonna get, I think, this bike takes a hell of a lot of abuse, like, which is nice. It's just that you kind of have to be aware of, even though it does not have lockout, it climbs pretty well. Like, I will say that much. It's impressive. And speaking of that, up here, this is a 32 tooth SRAM Eagle chainring with a non-press fit. Thank God. God bless America. No kidding. Anyway, no, I've had bad experiences with press fit bottom brackets. It just drives me nuts. And here it runs a nice threaded bottom bracket. This is a 175 millimeter Truvative Descendant crank. Does the job really well. Like, I haven't had any creaking in it. Here, this runs the SRAM NX drivetrain in the back. It's a 1x12 setup, so this is an 1150, and I feel like I've got plenty of climbing gear in the 50. So people are like, oh, like, do you think you need anything more than that? No, like, I think this is like the perfect climbing setup if you're doing, like, even if you're doing steep climbs, this feels like a lot. Like, you have plenty. So I don't have any issues with it in that case. Excuse me. Oh my God, I'm like falling apart here. And up front is the Altera handlebar. This is, you know, I want to say this is a 31.8 clamp diameter stem, and it's a really short stem. People are talking about how low, like, or how odd the setup feels, but again, I must not be picky or something, or I've ridden enough crappy bikes that this bike feels like a Mercedes of bikes. But you know, it's, I have not cut this fork. This is this is stock. This is a completely stock setup, what you're seeing here. And I have not had any issues on the ergonomics. Actually, this is one of the very few bikes that I have in my collection where I felt perfectly at home with it. I haven't had to get a shorter stem or a longer stem or wider handlebars or shorter handlebars. Like, everything on this bike is almost stock except for the brakes and the fact that I had to go tubeless. Kind of sad. Like, I thought I'd never give in, but there's only so many times you want to fix a flat tire, and I have so many bikes I don't want to have to change a sealant every 6 months if you're honest and good about it. So it's like, this bike will be one of the very few. Oh yeah, shifter wise, it runs an sorry, a Shimano 12 speed shifter as well, and it's pretty good. It didn't, thank God this one didn't crap out on me, because the one I had on my Zas car, it just broke, and I was like the first, like, before I even got to ride it, and so I was pissed about it. And I know SRAM takes a long time to do warranties, so it's like, I'll just buy a GX. So this one has lived, so thank God for that. Like, oh my God, just killing me. But anyway, you folks have followed my shredded edits, and I mean, that will tell you like how much I love this bike. It is definitely my top 3 favorite bikes to ride, with the Zast cars being up there in taking up the other 2 spots, I think, if I can remember. So if you folks have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm more than happy to let you know. Actually, I should have mentioned, like, excuse me, I think pressure wise, like, because this bike likes to run firm, 30% sag is pretty much like ideal on this kind of bike. So I've tried to run it in lower pressures, and I do notice like you will run through that travel pretty quick. So even just at 25% sag, it just feels too soft. So I think if you're wondering if you're gonna get this bike and you like a firmer feel bike, it's full suspension bike that is rowdy and it just loves to party, this is going to be the bike. If you want something more composed and super plush and maybe somewhat pedestrian, I think the Trek Top Fuel stuff, because my friend just got one, and it's like too plush for me, like, you know, because I as a trials guy, you want stuff to feel a lot more active, and that's why, like, I thought it was too much. Like, it was too plush. Anyway, too legit to quit. No, I'm kidding. And I should have mentioned, yeah, I always, people are like, why do you run these crappy platforms? It's because they would do the job, you know. I don't have to. I bought these, like, Performance Bike would have these pedals for sale back when they had a brick and mortar store, and on some days with a coupon you could get these, or you could get a pair of these cheap pedals that have lasted me years for like $15. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it. I just put skateboard grip tape because I had a bunch of it left over, so I just wanted to just see what it would do, and it's actually held up pretty well. I like it. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I don't know what my next upgrade would be, like, to be honest, because the bike feels perfect. So I'll probably switch out the tires to Vittorias, and you know, but that's gonna be a long ass time from now, because I'm happy with the entire setup as a whole. So and thank God I got rid of the SRAM brakes on here, because the 4-piston Maguras are just, oh my god, like they feel right for this bike. You could throw this bike around hard. So anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more bike checks, more bikes in my collections. I know I'll do a couple non-GT bikes, which is going to be mind-blowing for a lot of people, and because they're like, what, you have non-GT bikes? I do. But anyway, thanks for watching. All right, bye.